Bethan TV for Health, and this is a Back to Basics to every one of you that is tuned in, watching from different areas, different countries in Uganda or outside Uganda on our different platforms. You're very much welcome, and it's my privilege to have you on Back to Basics live on Bethan TV for Health. My name is Moses, and I'm happy to be your host of your favorite program, Back to Basics. This is the show that really brings out issues, fundamental issues in this case, and also topics that really touch on different lives in our society. You're very much welcome, and just to remind you that you can tune on the mainstream, GoTV, Star Times, free to air, but you can also log in different social media platforms, on X, on Twitter, that is X or Twitter, on Airtel TV, on Afro Mobile app, on YoTV, on www.bethantv.ug. All those are different platforms. We try to widen such that you do not miss any of the programs on Bethan TV for Health. This is the only TV in the industry that prioritizes health, and it's very important to always keep tuned to Bethan TV. Don't also forget, subscribe to our YouTube channels and hit that notification button such that you will never miss any of the program that comes your way. Very much excited. We are entering into the new year, definitely, still celebrating and thanking God for 2023, and also believing in God, waiting on God for prosperity, for favor in different areas in the society. You're very much welcome, and this is Back to Basics. As usual, we always bring to you experts that join me here as we discuss, as we delve into different topics. And this evening, it's no different because I have a counselor with me here in the studio, and join me to welcome Mariam Nabukera, who is a community counselor based in Entebbe. And Nabukera does a lot of work in the community, supporting youth, supporting vulnerable women with an NGO called A-Lead. And she has spared her time this evening to be with us as we discuss these fundamental topics. Before we dive into our topic tonight, I wish to officially welcome Mariam Nabukera to Back to Basics, and also ask Nabukera to greet the viewers and the listeners that have spared time to be part of this discussion. You're very much welcome, Mariam.
Thank you, Moses.
Back to Basics. Happy to have you again. This is your second time, right?
Yeah, it's my second time.
Happy to have you.
Thank you, Moses.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for switching in Back to Basic. It's Mariam once again. Happy to have you once again. Your audience and your ears, I promise you won't regret. I promise you.
Thank you very much, Mariam, and also Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I think since last year I haven't seen you.
Yeah.
I know we are a few days into the new year, but
yeah,
we are still celebrating, and I think that's why our society, our community is good, because everyone, whether it's a border, whether it's where you go to buy some groceries, and people greet you with Happy New Year, and I think that brings a smile on our faces, and it makes the environment, the community, a better place to live in. So I must say Happy New Year again.
Happy New Year to Moses.
Yes.
You know, I believe that every beginning of a new year, it's a new chapter in a man's book.
Yes.
Because we believe that it's time when your time is put back. It's a time it's a chapter that new opportunities are opened once again. Those you failed to get or to fulfill last year, it's this year that you can fulfill them in. The new year, every beginning of a new year, you have time and preparation, because time and preparation is so important.
Yeah.
The way you use your time determines what you're going to become. And we believe that a lot of people, everyone obviously has aged, and I don't believe when someone says that I'm blessed because I'm aged. If so, then Jesus was cursed, because we believe, we know that he died at 33.
Yes.
Yeah, but at 33, he died because he fulfilled his purpose. But at that age you're in, as a person, have you fulfilled your purpose? Do you have a purpose that you're moving in life? Or you're just aging and adding on the age as a young adults? Yeah, so I'm here to tell you much more about your adulthood.
Okay.
What you can do.
Thank you very much, Mariam. And again, we appreciate you being here and joining Back to Basics, first of all, but also the viewers and our listeners out there as we discuss some of these fundamental topics. This evening, we want to take time and reflect on what happens as we grow up, because we believe that it's a start of everything. If you give the basics to a young person, someone who's still growing up, and they learn a few values here and there, they learn some of the behaviors and the skills and ways of handling situations in the young ages, it prepares them better into the future, and they can manage the future very well. So this evening we want to reflect and focus on pressures that people face, but specifically focusing on peers that I'd find in the age of between 18 maybe and 24 or 25 or even more, that we can term the young adults.
Yeah.
Maybe from 18 or 17 or 16 onwards, it's when they're going into their adolescence and seeing changes and seeing a lot happening. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we want to focus and reflect on peer pressure or peer influence. And specifically looking at how do we manage peer pressure or peer influence, especially in those ages that I've defined earlier, the young adulthood. Because we believe, as your child, as the students who are still in vacation, in holidays, and experiencing some of these changes, this would be beneficial to them, because they can learn one or two things on how they can maneuver some of these pressures, because the reality is the pressures are there. So that's our topic tonight, managing pressures, especially in the peers in early adulthood.
Yes.
And we are with Mariam, who is a counselor. So from the counselor perspective, Mariam,
Yes.
we just want to straight away look at some of these pressures that we find in the ages between maybe you can say 16 or 15 to around 28 or 26, around there. What are some of the pressures we see in our community, giving reference to Uganda, the way we live, our actual communities? What are some of these pressures that we see that the youth struggle with?
Thank you, Moses.
Yes.
First of all, allow me to define peer pressure.
Okay.
Peer pressure, this is a feeling that someone must do something the same age mates or the same social group do in order to be liked or accepted. Yeah, so these pressures can be many. But as you gave me the bracket, I give in, because we all have different pressures according to our age, or according to what we go through, according to our perspective, or according to where we stand in life. As you say 16 to?
Yeah, to 20? Around 20, the age group that we can maybe call the young adults, those that are going into experiencing changes with their bodies, with the growth and development.
Okay, the pressures, I can say peer pressure itself, that's good, group pressure. Obviously, a person who is 16, I expect them to be in, let me say, in secondary. Yeah, he's in secondary. You have peer pressures that push us to do a lot of things that can lead your life to be destroyed. But we have people in 20s. We have a lot of pressures like commitments, responsibilities, You panic to get jobs. You panic to get together your life. You think that a lot is happening in your life. You try to struggle to adjust in life. You have a lot you're doing in life. You want to try this, try that. Because we know by that age 20, you're trying to find yourself. You're discovering yourself. Yeah, so I believe in that age, according to my perspective, you face those pressures of adjustment, commitment. You want to hang on something. You want to take responsibility even on the things that you don't believe. Scientists believe that they believe that in life we have things that pressure us, which are not even supposed to pressure us, because it's basically, scientists believe that we are basically hardwired to feel, to want to feel a belonging, to want to have a belonging into something. Like, it is scientifically, it is wired in us. Yeah, so sometimes we do some things, we have some pressures, but which we are not even made to have. A pressure like a belonging. You want to do something like your peers do. That's why we come onto a term called pluralistic ignorance. Have you ever been in the room and you're listening to something very horrible, but you keep quiet because you believe it's normal, it's you is not normal, and you keep quiet, and afterwards you get out and then you hear other people saying, like, but that music was so horrible. So we call it that, we call it pluralistic ignorance. We tend that even others, we try to feel like what others feel. So it also causes pressure, that peer pressure, the pressure that we have in life. It's one of the sources, and scientists believe, or psychologists believe, that it's the factor, the ruling factor. It plays a big role in alcohol drinking, the drugs, that is on college campuses. Pluralistic ignorance.
Actually, bring about college campuses. I believe the age reference we are talking about, maybe if it's from 16 onwards, you find the biggest percentage is in secondary.
Yeah, it is.
Those are secondary school students. What do we see? What do we see as the pressures that these students kind of, or the influence that maybe experience in secondary life, just to bring it a bit realistic and look at a secondary school goer, to a parent who is listening to us and would want to understand maybe, oh, this is what my child experiences, to a student himself who may not be aware that he's being influenced, and what are some of those pressures that we can kind of bring out and say in secondary, maybe this is what is actually happening, to make sure that it's kind of comes out clearly, focusing on the school going age in secondary schools.
When we talk about secondary schools, obviously we have performance. Performance, you can be, we have performance, we have students trying to look like others, because we believe there are those rich kids in the school. They try to bring, for them they give them even pocket money that is more than others, or that is, may I call it abnormal pocket money. Abnormal pocket money. Yeah, abnormal pocket money. Because you can't tell me that you're giving a child like 1M as a pocket money. You're spoiling the child. Which is
a salary of.
It's a salary of some of us.
Of a family person.
Yes, and like it can. You remember, someone with 1M as a pocket money is not going to be like someone of 50,000 of a pocket money as a pocket money. So I believe this pressure of competition, trying to look like the other person, trying to trying to, let me say, dress like the other person. You know, in some schools, like international schools, they don't dress in uniforms. They dress in casuals. Yeah, so this was one of the kids, a child who is given 50K as a pocket money, can want to compete with this one with one aim, which is not fine. And remember, competition brings a lot. You need a lot of concentration in order to win the competition. And of course, it causes you to perform badly. So it becomes a bad pressure, a bad influence to you, to your personality as a person, because you're going to portray a picture that is not yours, and you're going to try to keep yourself in that picture. You want people to see you in that picture. It is going to cause you to do a lot that you're not even willing to do. So we have that pressure of competition. Competition can also become a pressure. It can cause you pressure, and a serious one. And of course, poor performance. Someone can, when they are performing badly, it can bring in the pressure in them. And sometimes when a parent does not talk to that child well, they can even go like that. They perform badly, their esteem is damaged. Because remember, at that age, that is where that is where you can see someone's personality, what they are going to be in life. However, some of us, we change, but some of other people, or some of other personalities, they don't change. What they carry in school, 16, I think you're old enough. So that what you're portraying is what you're going to see, is what you're going to do in the world. And so if you don't handle that kid so well, when they have that pressure of poor performance, self-esteem automatically is going to be caused, and they are going to carry it to their life, into their future. That's the world, the reality. Because I believe school is another world, and reality as the working class we're in is different. Yeah.
So definitely we have to go to, you've brought in performance pressures maybe that come from students comparing themselves, and then the negative side maybe, which might affect their self-esteem. I would also think to those maybe, because it can be positive.
Yeah, sometimes it does.
It can be positive. But then if I'm to ask you to be maybe vulnerable and share experience in your senior 3, senior 4, because I think that's the age of 16, 17, around there.
Yeah.
Senior 3 or senior 2, for those who have maybe studied early. If you're to be vulnerable and share, what some of the pressures did you have at that time, and if you can remember?
That is a bit long, but what I remember,
I think it's long.
It's not so long, but
that's all to start saying.
But
these are 20 years back.
Yeah, but I'm a bit so grateful. Yes. I am a person who focuses on my future, where I'm going. I don't normally face my back, but anyway, let me try to remember something. As I was in, you said senior 2?
Yeah, around senior 2, senior 3, senior
2, senior 3, the pressures. You know, I was a child who was satisfied with my mom, what my mom was giving to me. I've always been the understanding child. Yeah, hi mom. I've always been the understanding child ever. So I remember I used to have
I think that's a plus to your mom, because I think that's where we parents are supposed to be supporting and helping our children to understand, so they can appreciate
what they have.
So kudos to your mom. If she's watching, we are sending greetings.
Yes, Michala Zawende, I love you so much. Plus my mentor, she's called Madame Pamela. Yes. She's my spiritual mentor. And back to the point. Yes. I used to have a long dress, because I just changed my religion. I was a Muslim, and I changed to born again. Wow. Yeah, so I used to wear long skirts. And then we used to see these girls who were not Muslims. For them, they used to put in those tight skirts. They give you a skirt. They give them long skirts, and they cut them. So for me, it was a bit of a challenge. I used to see myself as someone who is not fitting. It used to pressure me, and I'm like, am I really an old man out here? Should I cut the skirt?
Cut the skirt and
yeah.
be like
So that was my
so
pressure.
that speaks now the lifestyle, the dressing, and I think it's kind of it brings pressure to the young adults when they compare with the peers.
Yeah,
and
they
how
compare
they are dressing up
themselves so much, and it's.
And then they say, for you have no swag.
Yeah, you have no. You don't know anything.
You don't know anything. You don't know fashion.
Let me share this.
Okay.
We're at church, and we usually have some. We have talk shows for students when they come in their holidays. Yeah, so one of the students shared something and said that she's disturbed because she's pressured by her friends. In fact, there are two. She's pressured by her friend that she should she should know some music, because for her she's in church. But as you can say, do you know Sheba? Someone says, who is Sheba? Do you know Celine Dion? Someone could say, who is that? And someone just doesn't know Satchula. And then they told her, make sure next time you come here when you know something, when you know everything about that, about the world. So she told us that she was criticized, but she's feeling pressure because they gave her an assignment when she was going back home to go and search every Satchula musician. Like, she has to go back to school when she knows something about the world. So that one is also a pressure.
That's pressure. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to continue and try to identify some of these pressures. So the parent, the guardian, or this child yourself who is listening and watching, you can be able to at least know, okay, be aware of some of these pressures. And then later, as we conclude the show, definitely with our counselor, we're going to look at ways how we can try to manage and mitigate and create the balance, strike a balance between those pressures, because they will come.
They will come.
They will come.
They will
because
surely
they are
come.
your peers, your wisdom, and you have to fit in the group, but also follow your own values that might be right. For now, we are going to take a very, very short break, and then we will continue after the break. Indeed, Bethan TV for Health, and Back to Basics, the show that really gives you an insight and reflection of what's happening in our lives and encouraging us to get back to the basics and get things better. Tuned in to live on Bethan TV from different social media platforms. You're all welcome from this short break. And in the studio, once again, I have Mariam Nabukera, who is a community counselor, here with me discussing the pressures or the influence that peers experience, especially in early adulthood. It's very important to be aware of such pressures in order to be able to manage them. And before the break, we're trying to look at those pressures, especially if we take reference from secondary school going children or students. And Mariam had mentioned quite a number, and I was just wondering about, there's this situation, Mariam, called coupling in schools.
Yeah.
You know, some of these pressures, especially in our times, I think that those were not pressures.
Yeah, they weren't.
But I think these days, because of maybe advent of Western culture and exposure, you find there's that pressure of coupling. What do you comment about it?
Coupling. Coupling, it's a distraction, by the way. It's a distraction for those who didn't know. Because if at all you engage into a relationship, if at all it can disturb adults and they are messed in their lives, how about you as a kid? How about you who has to focus on your books and again to that person? For me, I believe that coupling is a problem because first of all, it is of hard work. It's a full-time thing. You put in all, that is your attention, you have to commit. Your commitments have to be there. There is a way you have to behave. You even move away from your values, because you can do what the marrieds do, yet you're not married, because you're not aware of what you have to do. You feel that you're old enough, and you feel you know much, but you don't know. You don't know how to guide yourself. Basically, you haven't even drawn your lines. You don't know where a man should stop. You don't know how a girl should be treated. You just think you know, and you just behave that as others do. You just do as your friend does. My friend, when they are walking with the girlfriend, tries to touch her, the hand, and they move. But what you're doing, the Baganda says that osembeza muka. How is it said? Osembeza, it's called the G. Help me. The G. Omuzigo kumuliro. You can't tell me that.
Nakera omuzigo kumuliro.
I know, but you know, the Scrum world has really spoiled us. Yeah, but anyway, osembeza muzigo kumuliro. You can't tell me that you're near a girl and you're a boy of opposite sex, and you think just that, by the way, they are praying. They think they're just praying. But what is going to come out?
You can't really predict what's coming out. Like you said, it's a distraction, and I believe it's the pressure, it's maybe the influence of like you find in schools. There's a school we're engaging in guidance and counseling for career guidance, actually, for senior A-level students, and one of the problems, one of the things that they told us to address was that coupling of there are those who had boyfriend, girlfriend, to an extent that they identified as if they are married. And it's
someone can say gundi wa gundi,
gundi wa
Jackie
gundi,
is for Ben,
and then it starts like that, and then you find those that don't have,
they feel out. Like they feel like they are the old man out.
Exactly.
And they feel that pressure of getting someone quickly. And Satan, that's when they enter. Satan gets in there, because if at all God kept you, you're single, others are doing what you're not doing. Once you engage in what they are not doing, then sometimes you do it more than those ones who have been even doing it. Because have you ever seen someone who didn't know something? Once they know it, or once they start to do something they have not been knowing, they do it even more than those who have been doing it. Because they don't know. These are the people, they are the innocent girls or boys at the school. They are not in coupling. Remember, these ones who are in coupling, sometimes they are clever. They use some things that they won't tell you. However, you're being told that it's cool to have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, but there is a story that they are not telling you, because coupling follows a lot. Obviously, if you're engaged into a relationship, that's a marital thing. It's meant for married people, or people who are old enough to know their values and what to do when they reach there. But you don't know, you're engaging into something. Those are the people you find. She was a silent girl at school, but she's the one who has got pregnant. Because they are innocent. Sometimes they are naive. They don't know what to do. They are engaged into a boy, but they don't even know that there is something like checking blood, testing blood. They are infected. A lot of kids have dropped out of school because of coupling. Coupling has caused a lot of things, because it doesn't come alone, just coupling. It doesn't stop there. One thing leads to the other. A boyfriend, obviously, one of the two is wiser than the other, and they both think they are wise. Because one who thinks that he's very wise is the one they even make to fall into a mistake. And some of your student friends, they are not so much in good likes of you. No. They are seeing you, for them they are spoiled. You're not spoiled. You've kept yourself. They would want to drag you into some activities you think they are doing when they are not doing, so that you get spoiled. Because obviously when you're not spoiled and you keep yourself well, you handle your values very well in school, you tend to have a very bright future. Yeah.
Okay, good you've spoken about drugs, and I remember things like smoking. You would find in secondary, maybe there's a group that is smoking, maybe I remember in the schools that we started from, maybe this is the group from a city, and then they come and they have a certain habit, and then they are doing it and they feel they are cool, and then other people want to force you. So it's good you've brought in the drugs and all related habits. And I think with pressure, you find most students can be victims of learning such habits in order to fit in the society. So
yeah, you know,
it's good you've brought it up. I just want to look at what really brings out, what causes someone or a student to succumb to this pressure and be a victim.
What brings, or how they can come out?
Yes, now this is Miriam and this is me, and I'm smoking, and then you adopt. What makes you succumb to my pressure, and then you learn the habit, which basically you left home when you've never kind of done such a thing.
Okay, psychologically, we have behaviors that we learn by observation. You think it is cool from far. Something from far always, the grass always looks greener from afar. So you think doing it because that person you think is cool, you're also going to be cool. Yet these drugs sometimes are caused by the depression people facing, the family they come in, the environment we live in. But sometimes it can be caused, like because of that observation I told you, just looking. And that brings me to a point, like you have to choose good friends to hang around with. Because if you choose good friends to hang around with, because you should have good friends around you, friends you have with the same value, friends that have the same goals as you do. Because we all move in life and in walks of lives. But these friends we meet sometimes are the ones that make us draw away from our goals. They make us focus on other things, what they are focusing on, and we draw away from what we have to focus on. So you always make sure that you get good friends who make good decisions, because you're most likely to make good choices when you have people who make good choices. Because if you bring in drugs, I also have a scenario. I have someone, I won't mention for confidential reasons, but this person told me that he started drinking not because he likes it, but because of that, I call it naiveness. A friend of his didn't know where to go. In fact, they have chased him out of their home because, of course, it was the drugs, the alcohol he was drinking. So when he came at work, because they were workmates, he told him about his story. He no longer has nowhere to stay. So what he does, because he usually used to come to work in the same clothing that he came in, very dirty, not looking so good. So a friend was concerned about what is happening to this one in his life. So the person wanted to know, and the one who was using drugs told him that you come follow me and you see where I live. Surprisingly, that friend was taken to a bar. So in reaching in a bar, I said, "Is this where you stay?" The person told him that, "Yes, I spend my time here. I drink the whole night, and then in the morning I come to work." So it happened. This friend thought, because sometimes we place ourselves to be Messiah that is Jesus. We think that we can rescue everyone in their situation in joining them in what they are doing. We believe that in joining them, we can pull them out of their bad habits. But that's not right. Because remember, you can't go to the dungeons to drug Satan. Remember, everyone, when they are in their area, at their home. Have you ever seen a dog at their home? The way it barks, it is different when it is on its way. It is different when you find a dog on the way. The way it barks at you, it's different when you find it at its home. Because it believes that it is protected, this is their home. So you going to somewhere, dragging someone from that scene, why don't you do it from away, not joining them? Because this friend tried to join this person, thinking that he can he can talk to this person about the drinking. When he's also drinking. When he's also drinking with her. At first, he didn't have an aim to drink, but in one way or the other, somehow, because of that, I told you, observational learning, he observed, and because the appetite came and he said, let me try it. When he tried it, he did it more worse than this person, to the extent that even at home, he reached there when he was drunk. Even his work was at stake. Do you see? So sometimes because of our friends, we are dragged into things that we are not even willing to do. But because we think that we are Messiah, we think that we can do as Jesus did. We join these people. Some people join the drunkards. Some people join the smokers, join them, thinking that they can help them come out of it. But I believe if you have a friend who is doing something wrong, I believe you can advise them from outside, minus you doing. Because how can you have a stand if you're doing the same thing as I do, and you think you can advise me to stop it, yet you're doing it? You have to have a stand as you. And you tell me, please stop drinking when you see me, when I see you, please stop drinking when I see you that you're sober. Give me illustration. Give me an example of what you want me to be. If I stop drinking, what next? Yes, you can be like me. Don't you see that I'm sober? I'm respected. But you're not respected, but you accuse someone who abused others. You don't need to join someone in a habit or in a bad habit in order to stop them or to prevent them to do it or to advise them to do it. So, of course, as you said, that how do people start smoking? Observation. And others, they want to stop them by doing what they are doing. They think they can stop them. No, not actually specifically smoking, but all these other pressures, like the way you've said from observation. I just want to ask something about background. Is there any relationship between maybe upbringing and someone's ability to either resist or succumb to peer influence? Of course, family adds a lot. You have to be careful what you're doing in front of your kids as a family, as parents, as the head. Because sometimes we do things or we behave in a certain way because of what we see at home. We bring it out because as a kid, as a child, they are a blank space, they are blank paper. Whatever you're doing, they are noting it somewhere in their brain. And that's what they are going to behave in the world. Because for them, they believe that doing what they are doing, it's right because mom or dad is doing it. They are smoking because that's the order of the day. Dad smokes. That's the thing I told you. You can't be smoking and you see your child smoking and you have a stand to stop them. Because remember, you're already doing that. What stand do you have? What example do you serve me? If you're drinking or if you're smoking, you can't advise me to stop because you yourself as my dad or my mom, you're doing so. You know, it is believed that these men who beat their ways, it is from what their fathers they saw they are doing to their mom. It is observed from home. Mom used to be beaten. So that's the order of the day. That's how I have to treat my wife. In order for her to know that I love her, I have to beat her.
So a child or someone from such a family where there are conflicts and chaos, how does that affect him or her? I mean, like their ability to resist pressures, maybe when they're at school environment.
As I told you, that in fact it is said that charity begins at home. It can be, do you know that these things, some of them are inherited? Some of them are inherited. You can be doing that thing, but you're told there are names that we name our children, but these are names of drunkards. Your uncle was a drunkard, and you want to name your kid that. And you always say, oh, but the name I gave to you, your uncle used to be a drunkard. So,
so someone in
that you're doing that, but your dad used to do that.
Someone inherits each and everything and all the behaviors and habits.
And even the way we talk to our children about what they are doing, there is a way that parents talk to their children, what they are doing, as if they are supporting them. Like, but what you're doing, your dad used to do it. And some of them, like boys, they want to, their fathers are almost their first role models before looking at the world. And of course, within that age of 16 and beyond, their dad is overall is the man.
Okay, thank you very much. Understanding and knowing and being aware of these pressures definitely is the first step to managing them. And thank you for bringing out the various pressures that our young adults would experience, ranging from personal performance to external factors, like you've identified them. So, and they are there. One thing we must all agree is these pressures are there. Because first of all, we find students leave your homes and join other students from other homes where you do not know their values, their beliefs, and their ways of doing things. And they're all joined and they're living in one community for quite a long time. Yesterday I was telling someone that you find in a school setting, up to about 9 months, these students are together. If you are to see the percentage of there. So almost a year. So it's something that you may not avoid, but then we can manage it. Our stakeholders, the guardians, the parents, and the teachers, and school owners, and community leaders. There are things that we can do maybe to manage this peer pressure, which is the core of our discussion this evening. So as we conclude in the last 6 or 7 minutes, how can we manage, how can we support our young adults to manage peer influence and remain grounded on the right values?
First of all, there is what we call personal commitment. As a person, even if we counselors talk, even if your parents talk, even if any stockholder, as you said, talks, when you as a child, you haven't made a personal commitment to yourself, you have to do an inward commitment as a child. You have to have your values you walk on. You have to have your limits. If someone does this and this, as me, according to where I'm going, I don't do that. I can't engage in this, I can't engage in that. Because you have to first have a goal in order to know where you're going. And you can't know where you're going when you don't have a purpose for that goal. So,
Mariam, I just cut you short. I agree with you about the personal commitment. But we are talking about the young adults in this case. And there's a lot, like you had explained, that brings it because of, first of all, the generation that they are in. the friends they interact with, and then the changes. This is someone that is growing and developing. Maybe this is adolescent stage, and there are changes.
Yeah.
There are internal factors, there are drives, there are egos, there are things that actually affect this child. So at that level, the discussion of having maybe personal commitment to a child, yes, that is the way to go, but how do we support these children, for example, to realize that they must have values, they must commit some of the values that they should work with and not be distracted?
They should be very careful with what they are doing. They should be themselves. They should run their own race. They should walk on their own path. And the world will always adjust. That is from an anonymous source.
That's
but
true.
I believe when you try to be yourself, it encompasses in everything. It encompasses in comparing yourself to others. It encompasses in having your values. It encompasses in knowing that when this friend and this friend is not in my values, that is not me, and I can't pretend to be someone else in order to be something. Yes.
That's true.
So as a parent,
yes, as a parent, yes, how do we support?
As a parent, I believe these children are now at home. They are in holidays, yet they are about to go back. Try to talk to these kids. You know, we are so busy in life, but please get time for your kids. Ask them what is their purpose in life, what are their friends at school, and try to follow what those friends, what families they come in. Because if at least you follow the friends where they come in, what family they come from, you will know what you have to talk to your kids. Because most of them in that age, they do what the family is doing. They follow what the dad is doing. So if you know that a friend of my kid has a dad who is a drunkard, expect that child to be a drunkard. And obviously, as time goes on, your kid will be involved in that. So try to just do that background check. If you notice what to talk about, even if you don't say to that kid direct, that don't drink, sometimes they haven't even started drinking, but you can start to tell them disadvantages of that habit that you found out, minus even them knowing. You know, in this modern world, each one of us has to have at least a little bit of psychology or counseling. A parent is a counselor. Is a natural counselor apart from us. Is a natural counselor. So counsel your child, because if you leave the world to counsel your child or to show them what to do, they will face it rough. So try to talk to your child. Try to know what company they are holding. Try to know what they do in their free time. They always have those phones. Do you get time to pass through those phones? Are you friendly with your kids? Try to be friendly with them, because some of them at 16, they are old enough. They are about to finish secondary. They are about to enter into their lives. They're already even engaged in these activities that we are talking about. They're already in relationships. But have you tried to tell them about your experience in relationships when you were young? What happened? What repercussions? Because some of us, we produce when we are young at an early age. But is it embarrassing to you? Try to talk to your child, to your daughter or your boy, about what embarrassed you mostly. Because sometimes we talk about these things, but we don't know that our kids are passing through them. Because if you tell them what happened to you when you did that thing, they will be scared for that to happen to them. So try to be open with them.
All right, thank you very much, Mariam, for that insight. As we try to conclude in a minute, what are your closing remarks to our viewers and listeners?
Thank you very much for watching, but I want to remind you again that this world is made up of time. the month has, the year has just begun. It is okay if you've done badly in the last year. Everything that has happened is now pulled in the past. You're pulled in the future. So in the future, you can as well try to open up a new chapter in your life. If you didn't have a purpose in your life, you can have it now. Because I believe, and we believe, a new chapter in life can include a lot that you didn't write or you didn't include in your last chapter. That's last year. It is not too late for you to begin your new chapter, because the year has just begun. Because as I told you that if a year ends, that's a chapter closed. It means you can't open it once again. You can't go back in 2023 anymore. You will never see it in your life. But you can go in 2025. In 2024, you can still do a change.
All right, Mariam, that is that is very great sharing, and thank you very much for sparing your time and being here and sharing such views. And managing pressure definitely is the way to go in the young adults, because pressure is there, and at whatever age, but in the young adults, like you said, they need support from the parents, from people surrounding them, to help them be grounded in their values, the values they believe in. And definitely with topics like this, with discussions, it helps you to increase, get that knowledge that you would require to support your young adult. If you have, or if you're a young adult, it can help you to maneuver through pressures of life as you interact with different people. This is Back to Basics, and we're privileged to have you, and thank you very much for being part of this. This always comes live on Bethan TV for Health. Always stay tuned, and we are here in this 2024 to move forward and keep discussing such fundamental topics. From me, I must say, have a great night and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bethany TV.